your curiosity, and that was all of the things that Dr. DeRussy has been involved in. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then we're up for questions for her, and I'm sure I've got my question already reserved. So, Dr. DeRussy is a nationally recognized writer and lecturer on education and cultural issues, a former college professor. She was appointed to the Board of Visitors of the United States Military Academy, the Air Force Academy, by George W. Bush, and received the Air Force's Exceptional Service Award at the end of her tenure. She was a member of the State University of New York trustees and served on the board's executive committee, chairing its academic standards committee. She served on Ave Maria University's Board of Regents as chairperson and received the Barry R. Gross Memorial Award from the National Association of Scholars for the cause of academic reform. She has an abiding interest in national security issues and became a member of the Committee on the Present Danger, dedicated to protecting and expanding democracy and winning the global war on terrorism. She co-founded and chaired the Democracy Project to strengthen institutions that support liberty and democratic rule at home and abroad. She has held a primary focus on education, especially K through 12. She has led efforts to raise academic standards, strengthen education, general education, promote school choice, and bring accountability and efficiency to the academy. Human rights, First Amendment, media, and Catholic topics have all been explored by Dr. DeRussy for our benefit. Former trustee of the Westchester Community College, she serves as an advisory boards of the Foundation of Individual Rights in Education, the Independent Women's Forum, the International Institute of Classic Humanities, Cardinal Newman Society, Society of Catholic Social Scientists. She holds a doctorate in French from Tulane University, a Master's of Arts from Middlebury College's Sorbonne-based program, and a BA from St. Mary's Dominican College of New Orleans. She is a member of the Association of Literary Scholars and Critics and many other professional societies. A partial list of the many organizations that have published her and some reference articles can be found on the table in the back. There where Mr. Smith is there, several things. And as an outspoken critic of the academic credentials of a college conference titled Revolting Behavior, the Challenge of Women's Sexual Freedom, Dr. DeRussy was featured on 60 Minutes. She was also interviewed on the O'Reilly Factor, C-SPAN, the New York Times, Associated Press, Village Voice, and other publications. In the inaugural issue of Ms. magazine, way back when, she was described as a woman to watch out for, and I do believe. Dr. DeRussy, I was very interested in this conference, the revolting behavior, and the flack or the lack thereof that you got from the media. And I wondered if any of those things that they mentioned, the New York Times, Village Voice, or some of the others, were a response to that or to something else that you wrote that raised their hackles.
Well, the vast coverage that event received was due to the fact that people in the community of New Paltz actually asked me, told me about this conference. This is what, 96, 7, 8, something like that. Told us about this, told me about this, and asked me to go. And I thought this would be basically an art exhibit or something, you know, various feminist exhibits. Frankly, much of what occurred there, and this was partially at taxpayer expense, and I have to tell you also that there were minors, children, even women with their babies there. it's really unspeakable. In other words, I can't even describe some of the things, but it involved the sale and demonstration of sex toys, for example, the sale of lesbian, etc., pornography, and really much, much more, plus this ongoing demonstration of, frankly, hatred of men in many regards, and it was really just, it was a caricature, it was a really terrible thing. So I took notes throughout this whole thing. My husband was there and felt actually that he had to leave because it was really basically so unpleasant. And what happened then is I got calls from reporters, and I revealed what had happened there to the extent that I could. Because as I say, some of it is just not, one can't in public speak about it. It's the vulgarity is of such proportions. So anyway, the press picked up on this. It became an international incident, and I think it was very, very useful because people did not understand that level of militancy and of disdain for traditional morality in every respect was being flaunted on American campuses throughout the country, often in concert with the departments, the feminist departments, women's studies departments, and so forth, which do fine, fine work in many areas, but also which have gone, thanks to radicals, militant radicals within their midst, who hire more of their own, have made this really commonplace in the country at this point. And I could really go on in more graphic detail, but I won't. I think you get the picture. That's what triggered the attention. And I was just willing to move forward and reveal everything that happened.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Somebody else.
Our president is in the process of dismantling any charity other than government to provide any services for any of the disadvantages. Particularly what I'm concerned about is our Catholic charities. He's going to make it $100 a day per employee fine for anybody who doesn't cover contraception and abortifacients. So, my church, the Catholic Church, will refuse to do so. And he is going to shut them down with the fines, or tax, whatever you want to call it. On the other hand, our Cardinal Dolan has invited him to the Al Schmidt dinner.
Oh, what is that?
My question to you is, with all the people you've associated with, has there been any groundswell of questioning or justification for this invitation?
For the invitation, I've really not followed what's being said on that level. I've not spoken with many people about it. I personally disagree with the invitation, and I very much agree with you that this is something to fight with all of our might. And as you know, 43 or so groups have filed suit against the government regarding the HHS, so-called HHS contraceptive mandate, because it's a threat, certainly to our religious freedom, conscience, and so forth. The organization that I'm involved with, Bill Donahue of the Catholic League, is really at the forefront, one of the forces at the forefront of this. And by the way, so is Cardinal Dolan, very much to his credit, and he has been outspoken on the issue. So he deserves great credit for that, as does the Catholic League, and I think that this is an issue that we all here should take up and pray and hope and work that decision be overturned. In other words, that we win this case, to put it that way.
Dr. DeRussy, our theme is women's leadership voices helping or hurting women. And I was just wondering what, you're well-traveled, do you see the tide changing in terms of the messages women are sending to other women? We're 40 years now past Roe v. Wade. the fallout is obvious to all who wish to look. How can we improve our message to women to listen to the right voices?
I would say above all, do everything possible to take our schools back. Because from K through graduate schools at this point, the voices predominantly come from radical leftists, if you will, feminists. And that is forming this groundswell of what it is we have to fight. There are many, many, many young women who simply have never heard the case, really don't understand the case for pro-life. And so taking back the schools is an enormous factor. That would include, on the higher education, taking back the journalism education. Because our journalists are now in second, third generation of having been indoctrinated in a variety of leftist modes of thinking, including, of course, the issues relating to the unborn. And they are in the back pocket, basically, the journalists at this stage, of the leftist voices, of the militant feminist voices. And one doesn't even hear the case made. So this is the point. And I think that radical school choice has a great deal to do with this, so that we could pick up our monies and put it on the backs of our children and send them to the schools of our choice, which would offer a different education. That would be in the forefront of my priorities.
So, going along with education, though, wouldn't places like the State of University of New York and their standards and so forth even trickle down into the parochial schools and private schools in what they expect as far as syllabus goes on the standardized tests? There is a very big push now that same-sex marriage is considered marriage, the syllabus and what is in the textbooks of most schools is going to radically change in New York State and in any state.
It has changed.
It has already.
Oh, yeah.
And so, how do the private schools and the Christian schools, and there are some other than Catholic, there's some Christian schools around as well, what do they do in order to be able to take the standardized tests in certain subjects where this stuff can infiltrate? For instance, the social sciences and English. I don't think they can do too much with math, but even science itself, they have their own agenda. What can these schools do to combat that and yet, able to take these tests?
Well, they have to be faithful to their curricula, and they have to teach in this curricula far and beyond what appears in the tests. In other words, it's in the classroom, it's in the mores of the parochial school and similar schools to continue to put forth in no uncertain terms and to create a culture there that is an alternative culture, oasis culture, if you will. So that is what we have to do. In the meantime, we should all be working, and the Catholic school leadership should be working to, frankly, openly criticize the standards, the curricula, the textbooks in which a great deal of this indoctrination takes place. There's no other way but to raise your voices and go to trustees of organizations. Go to the groups that lead the Catholic schools. Who are they? I mean, they have boards. They have monsignors who run them. They have people who are their principals. Go to them. Everyone, we must go to them. We must write on this and speak to them and see that they openly challenge the state in this regard, and openly challenge standards that are in fact indoctrinating in a variety of things, a variety of areas, political, sexual, etc. And that's what we must and can do. And we should fight much, much more shrewdly in the media. And Facebook and the works. So, listen everyone, thank you so much.